"Mom, don't worry about me. Just remind Dad to take his medicine on time." That was the loving and caring message sent by a 31-year-old female doctor in Kolkata, India, to her mother during her workday. But the next day when her parents called back, the phone only rang endlessly. They could never have imagined that the next news they would receive about their daughter was tragic. She had died at the hospital, found partially unclothed with broken ribs, blood in her eyes, and her body bruised from injuries. Even a child would have trouble believing this was a voluntary departure. So who was responsible for taking a young doctor full of dreams and ambitions and causing such a painful end? And moreover, how did they silence the authorities, convincing the initial police investigation that this young woman had taken her own life? Today, we will uncover the truth behind the shocking case at RG Kar Medical College and Hospital in Kolkata, India. Let's dive into every detail, exploring the hidden corners of this story to uncover the truth behind this tragedy. But before we begin, as always, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next thrilling cases. Your support is the biggest motivation for our team to keep bringing high-quality content. Today's story centers on a talented, kind, hard-working, and intelligent young woman named Momita Debnath. She was born in 1993 in Kolkata, a city in eastern India. From a young age, Momita was energetic and eager to learn. She was curious about everything, especially scientific knowledge, particularly biology. After finishing high school, Momita pursued her passion at university. She earned a bachelor's degree, but she didn't stop there. She went on to earn a master's degree in environmental science. She was particularly interested in environmental issues like climate change and pollution. But even that wasn't enough for Momita. She kept striving and earned a PhD also in environmental science. It's incredible that after all these achievements, she still wanted to become a doctor, a medical doctor. Who else has the curiosity and determination of Momita? She was truly remarkable, intelligent, and full of willpower. While pursuing her PhD and working, Momita was also a second-year student at RG Kar Medical College and Hospital in Kolkata. During the COVID-19 pandemic, seeing many patients struggling with respiratory issues, she decided to specialize in pulmonology. And in the end, Momita achieved it. She became a dedicated doctor, fully committed to her patients. Momita loved participating in research, especially studies on how air pollution affects respiratory health. Interestingly, she combined her two areas of expertise as an environmental science PhD, studying pollution and its impact on the lungs alongside her medical training. Momita also actively collaborated with various organizations to address public health issues and received numerous awards for her contributions to medicine and humanitarian work. Intelligent, passionate, cheerful, soft-spoken, and graceful. These were not only my objective observations about her, but also the words of those who had interacted and worked with her. Momita's parents loved and were immensely proud of her. Coming from a modest background, both worked tirelessly as tailors to support their daughter's education. They spared no effort or expense, dedicating all their time and resources to ensure Momita could study properly. She always felt that her parents had sacrificed so much for her that she had a duty to succeed and make them proud. And indeed, Momita never disappointed them, which is why she was so dearly loved. Momita's parents were elderly and had high blood pressure, so she always reminded her father to take his medication on time. Even late at night, if he ran out of medicine, Momita would go buy more despite his protests that it could wait until tomorrow. To her, her father's health came first. And for her mother, she always remembered to bring back gifts whenever she went shopping. One of Momita's instructors at medical school shared that she was not only diligent but also meticulous. Her handwriting was beautiful. Prescriptions were clear and easy to read, unlike some doctors whose handwriting was nearly illegible. She absorbed information quickly, spoke fluently, and was very confident, which earned her the respect and affection of both colleagues and patients. Momita loved her life both at home and at work. She often said that the hospital where she studied and worked was her second home. But in that very place, she considered home a malevolent presence, appeared a cruel figure ready to destroy everything. His desires came above all else, above Momita, her future, her family's honor, and even her life. So what happened? On August 8, 2024, after finishing her shift at the hospital around 11 p.m., Momita called her mother to say that she and her colleagues had ordered dinner and would eat at the hospital, then stay overnight. Her poor mother had no idea it would be the last time she heard her daughter's voice. After dinner, Momita decided to rest in one of the hospital's rooms, a conference room usually used for meetings. The hospital didn't have dedicated resting rooms for doctors after long shifts, especially night shifts, so doctors often grabbed any available space for a nap. That day, Momita was very tired. After eating, she went into the conference room, laid a mat on the floor, and quickly fell into a deep sleep in the place she called her second home. The next morning, August 9th, 2024, Momita was scheduled for a shift at the hospital since she stayed overnight, but she didn't show up. This was highly unusual as she had never missed a shift. Knowing she had slept in the conference room, colleagues assumed she might have overslept after a long night and went to wake her. But when they opened the door, they were horrified. The friend and colleague who had dined with them just 9 hours earlier was now lying motionless on the floor, her legs unnaturally spread in a very strange position. As they got closer, the horror intensified. Momita was bleeding from her eyes, nose, and sensitive areas. There were signs suggesting she had been restrained and harmed. These were visible to the naked eye. Her colleagues were shocked and screamed. The scene descended into chaos. They moved her body to the hospital morgue while the police and medical examiners arrived immediately to investigate. The autopsy revealed shocking details of that fateful night. Momita's legs were spread unnaturally, her pelvic and leg bones deformed. Her eyes had bleeding caused by broken glasses, and the thyroid cartilage had bruises indicating her head had been forcibly pressed to the floor, and her mouth covered to prevent screaming. She had been brutally attacked in sensitive areas, indicating that the perpetrator's actions were not only coercive, but showed signs of cruel deviance. Police and forensic experts suspected the attacker might have been negatively influenced by explicit content. Momita had been tortured violently and had evidently fought back fiercely. Even more horrifying, the medical examination revealed that Momita's body contained multiple traces of bodily fluids, indicating she had been assaulted by more than one perpetrator. It's almost impossible to call them human. They are unworthy of that sacred word. They were mere beasts. No, even animals would be more humane. Clearly, this was an entire gang of twisted minds. They attacked Momita, an innocent, defenseless young woman, while she slept peacefully. At the crime scene, police found the door unlocked, giving the perpetrator easy access. Yet the room was in disarray, showing that the victim had fought back fiercely. The only piece of evidence recovered was a pair of broken headphones lying next to Momita's body. Security footage revealed a suspicious man roaming the hospital halls, particularly near the area where the attack occurred. He wore headphones and constantly glanced around as if watching someone. When questioned, hospital staff immediately identified him. He was Sanjoy Roy, a regular volunteer at the hospital. Police summoned Sanjoy Roy for questioning. The headphones he owned matched perfectly with the broken pair found at the scene. When the severed wire was joined, it fit seamlessly. On Sanjoy Roy's phone, authorities also discovered photos of Momita's body. So, who was Sanjoy Roy really? Sanjoy began his career in 2019 as a civilian volunteer within the disaster management team under the Kolkata police. In other words, he was a regular citizen volunteering in a unit run by law enforcement. Over time, leveraging personal connections, Sanjoy transferred from disaster management to the social welfare division, still under police oversight and still as a volunteer. Volunteers like Sanjoy were typically seen as temporary workers, paid very little, mainly assisting the police with simple tasks such as traffic control or disaster relief. Their work was not complicated, but due to India's high population density and underdeveloped road system, the police needed extra hands and were willing to pay these volunteers a modest stipend. However, Sanjoy was dissatisfied with his position. He harbored ambitions of becoming a police officer, but refused to undergo the rigorous training required at the academy. He wanted to be recognized as a full-fledged officer with authority. Many people saw him wearing a Kolkata police logo on his shirt. Even his motorcycle bore police markings. Interestingly, Sanjoy also volunteered at the medical school and at RG Kar Hospital, where the murder took place, but as a cook. He prepared meals for patients and doctors alike, which made him a familiar face in the hospital. Strangely, Sanjoy had disappeared from the hospital for a short period. When he returned, he claimed to be a police volunteer, granting him unrestricted access to all areas of the hospital, including restricted zones. It was baffling. How could someone be both a cook and a police volunteer with such freedom? A medical student reported frequently seeing Sanjoy stationed at the emergency entrance or in the ICU. Longtime staff were shocked to see him in this role, knowing he had previously been the hospital cook. Upon digging deeper into Sanjay's background, the police discovered that he had a tangled web of relationships and a history of violence. He had been married 4 times. His first 3 wives left him due to abuse, and his 4th wife tragically passed away from cancer. The mother of his 4th wife revealed that Sanjay had a history of violence against women and had hidden the fact that he had been married 3 times before marrying her daughter. She also mentioned that once her family discovered the truth, he became even more aggressive toward his wife and children, forcing them to report him to the police multiple times for domestic violence. To her, Sanjay was terrifying, especially when drunk. He would bang on neighbors' doors at night, shouting and cursing loudly. Nobody liked him. Another neighbor reported that he was already bad when sober, and when drunk he would repeatedly pound on doors and yell through the night, allowing no one any rest. The day before Mumita's case, Sanjay, intoxicated, had attempted to harass another woman, demanding she strip completely. Sanjay's mother-in-law was outraged, insisting that if he had been caught that day, poor Mumita would not have met such a tragic fate. She demanded the death penalty for him. Even inside the hospital, Sanjay had a notorious reputation among patients. He lied, cheated, and falsely claimed to be a police officer rather than a volunteer. He exploited vulnerable people, promising them police jobs and free hospital admission. But in reality, he was nothing more than a con artist. Eventually, Sanjay was arrested on 2 charges: sexual coercion and murder. He was held in custody at the police station awaiting trial. He confessed, and investigations revealed that he had a pornography addiction and a penchant for violence consistent with the autopsy findings. However, he showed no remorse for his actions. Reports noted that he gave very detailed accounts of the crime without hesitation. The police also found numerous explicit videos on his phone. But upon leaving the court, Sanjay immediately retracted his statements, offering the familiar defense of many criminals. "I was coerced, beaten, forced to confess." He refused to name any accomplices, hiding all of his collaborators, even though forensic evidence confirmed the presence of multiple semen samples from different individuals on the victim's body. Yet Sanjay would not disclose anyone. Mumita's case became the center of national attention. People across India, both men and women, expressed outrage and sympathy for the victim. Numerous protests erupted outside the hospital and police station. Medical students joined the demonstrations to protest lax security and hospital mismanagement, suspecting hidden corruption. Some female doctors suggested that Mumita had uncovered an organ trafficking ring within the hospital involving certain police officers, senior doctors, patients' relatives, and even Sanjay. This may have led to her tragic death. The fact that many people disliked Mumita only strengthened the theory that she was sexually coerced. What made matters even more infuriating was that the police dismissed the forensic report, denying that multiple perpetrators were involved, claiming there was only one culprit, even though the initial report indicated over 10. This only fueled public outrage, with many believing there was a cover-up in the case. Amid the public outrage, Sandeep Ghosh, an orthopedic surgeon and director of the hospital's medical school, resigned. He stated that he could no longer endure criticism, accusations of negligence on social media, and attacks from politicians. He felt his honor and reputation were severely tarnished. The police also raided his home, accusing him of corruption and considering him an accomplice in the case. Ironically, just 4 hours after resigning, Sandeep was appointed to the National Medical College, a higher position than his previous post. This move by the authorities enraged the public, who saw it as a clear act of cover-up and favoritism. They appeased him with a better position to make him step down and save face. Students protested the appointment, holding banners demanding Sandeep's dismissal rather than promotion. They wanted him held accountable for what had happened. The government was forced to respond to the public outcry. On August 13, 2024, Sandeep was suspended until further notice pending investigation. On August 28, 2024, the Indian Medical Association revoked his membership after he was formally accused of corruption. Sandeep had to undergo 2 lie detector tests related to concealing sexual coercion incidents, financial fraud, and other violations at the medical school and hospital. On September 10, 2024, the Central Investigation Agency arrested Sandeep and his assistant for embezzlement during his tenure as director. Some charges were proven, and Sandeep was remanded in custody awaiting trial. Angry citizens stormed the hospital and medical school, destroying property, convinced that the institution was tainted, rife with corruption, exploitation, and cover-ups. To this day, Sanjay and Sandeep remain in custody while the police continue their investigation, hoping to uncover more evidence and other accomplices. Yet the real question is whether those currently handling the investigation and trial are themselves connected to the people behind this case. Will there be a scapegoat forced to shoulder the blame for the powerful figures lurking in the shadows? Perhaps only in 20 or 30 years will the full truth finally come to light. But the most heartbreaking truth is that the world has lost a talented woman, a devoted doctor passionate about her work and life, always caring for others. Momita was only 31 years old. What crime did she commit to deserve such a tragic fate? Perhaps her only mistake was trusting the wrong place, believing in what was supposed to be a second home, only to have it take her life. Momita fell because the system failed to protect her. She became a victim of a society and legal system that still blames victims. Some officials in India even declared that Momita brought it upon herself by sleeping in an unsafe place. A tired young woman after a long shift with no place to rest, where else could she have slept? The issue isn't where she slept, but that no despicable person has the right to violate her or her human rights, even if she were sleeping in the middle of the street. It's completely unacceptable. Those who say such things are nothing but beasts. We can only hope that Momita's tragic death will not be in vain, that it becomes a catalyst for changing outdated laws in India, and that stories like this will no longer have to be told. There is absolutely no justification for assault or harassment, regardless of the reason, whether she was dressed revealingly, walking alone in a secluded place, or being out at night. None of this excuses the crime. If you're defending the perpetrator with such words, stop. Imagine if it were your sister, mother, or wife in the same situation, having to go to a remote place for medicine, facing trouble at night. Would that justify them being harmed? Of course not. And you? What do you think about this case? What lessons does it leave for all of us? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy content like this on our channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any gripping, thrilling stories. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.